I'm just going to start it. So, hello and welcome. If you're watching this on VOD, thank you for taking the time to watch or listen. Regardless, as always, I'm joined by Sean.
Hi there.
So, welcome to our Mind Over Madness podcast, episode 4, where you always make your mind go over the madness.
You what?
Going for the cheesy, corny lines today. Because why not?
I put a good one in there. It's like escape the madness or something.
Escape the madness by using your mind. No, don't use your mind right now. It's not going to work.
There is a Facebook page now. It's called Mind Over Madness Podcast.
Yeah,
Search
so if you want to find that on Facebook, please go ahead and like the page. It would be very much appreciated.
You can find updates and where to watch the podcast and stuff like that.
Definitely. Also, another quick announcement. Sorry to I'm sorry. So insulting. But you may notice that we're not going to be sharing out the Spotify links as much now. Unfortunately, we can't be posting any more on over there because it costs money, and that's something we don't have. So yeah. Yeah, we'll just go with technical issues. I've just said why, but we'll go with technical issues because it's easier. But yeah, so. If you want to look at them, keep an eye on the Facebook page, and just keep an eye on the YouTubes as well. Any other things?
You can still always watch them on Twitch.
Yes, they're on Twitch for 30 days.
Our USP is that we do them live as well.
Yes, exactly. So you can watch them live, so you see every little part of the bumbling mess that we call a podcast, and also the
X-rated version.
X-rated version. Yeah, you know, because I am going to be starting to edit them, weirdly enough, so they're a little more coherent. But yeah, other than that, there is something else that we want to talk about, but I guess we'll leave that till the end. It's a little bit of a change to the actual podcast itself and how it'll be done for the next 3 weeks, but we'll come on to that a little later, I think.
Mm-hmm. Let's start topic 1.
Oh, as we always do, let's go to the lockdown. How are you handling it? How's it going for another week?
Lockdown's alright for me. Obviously, there's been some changes this week.
Yeah, some quite drastic ones. Obviously, last week Boris did.
The right word,
yeah, Boris is kind of maybe stupid. I would go with that, but Boris obviously made his little speech last week. Obviously, after we did our podcast, so we didn't touch on it. But what was kind of your take on that then? How did you feel about hearing it and stuff?
It didn't really help with the making it really confusing and incoherent for a lot of people. And it's like they got rid of the stay-at-home message in a way, but it's still in effect. But not really. But maybe it is.
God, yeah, it's such a confusing mess.
Matt Lucas put it in the right words there. Go to it. Don't go to it.
Oh yeah, I love that with it. Go to work. Don't go to work. Don't use public transport. But if you can use public transport, use public transport. If you can drive, bike or cycle, do it. Go outside. Don't go outside. But go to work. Don't go to work. Stay at home. But don't stay at home.
That's basically the consensus of how everyone was feeling at that point.
Yeah, it was a bit all over the place and confusing. Obviously, a big thing I think that surprised me was, for those of you who obviously don't know, Sean obviously lives in England, whereas I live in Wales. So when the Prime Minister made these announcements, everyone was very confused when the Welsh, Scottish and Northern Ireland governments came out and went, we're not doing that. So you can imagine our confusion to, then what are we doing? So that was, it was very, very confusing.
Go through the changes. I think you can basically travel as far as you want to exercise and meet up socially with one other person outside of your household. It's a one-on-one thing.
As long as you keep your distancing.
I mean, if you kind of went through the previous rules with the fine toothpick, I think you'd find that you could already do that anyway, really.
Yeah. Then there was that entire fiasco about parents that even Matt messed up, which was when he went on TV. I know this has all been resolved now, but we're obviously going through it all just to kind of visibly talk about how incoherent the government are and how badly they are handling this. He obviously went on TV and said, oh no, you can go and see two parents and be around two parents and stuff. But then literally after he came off the interview, the government announced that you can't do that,
Yeah.
and now they've
Just goes
backtracked
to
on it again. So
goes
it's like,
to show that even they don't know what they're doing.
yeah, I understand it's like a very difficult situation, but I mean, communication is key, and they're not like people want to follow the rules, but when they're not being like people are being, I think some people are maybe being a little bit silly in the sense of, oh well, it's just common sense, really. That I mean,
they're kind of jumping on the bandwagon a bit. Like,
yeah, I think a lot of it is common sense.
What's going on? We're so helpless.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have a brain, use it. Like you know, it's not all just about we have to be exactly told what we can and can't do. No, just use your common sense as well. Although that does not excuse the government at all for their handling of this entire situation, but I do think some of the stuff it does just come under common sense.
Just the thing, if you can't look up to the government to tell you what to do, just
yeah.
Well, don't make your own rules up, but use a bit of that noggin.
Yeah, follow their rules, but use your mental health capacity and your sensibleness.
Just try and keep yourself sensible and safe.
Yes, same as everyone else. I think
as much as possible.
the slogan change as well. I just don't see the point in it, because when asked about it, Boris even pointed out, no, we're not saying go out if you don't have to. The stay-at-home message is still there. I mean, Christ, even Northern Ireland, even the Welsh Minister, said it himself. No, that message is still very clear. Stay at home. But obviously, the government is insisting that the stay alert still means stay at home. But if you have to go out, just stay alert as well. Which, I mean, let's be honest, was the same message they had before. Yeah. So, I don't know. I find it a very, very strange situation. I don't know if they've done it to kind of distract from their handling of the situation, maybe. Yeah.
As the week's gone on, it's kind of people got a bit more used to it.
Yeah. I think people's initial reaction was
not much has really changed, to be honest.
Oh, but yeah. So, for those of you who aren't aware, the rules that were slightly changed in England were you could now go as far as you wanted and travel and stuff, and as long as you stayed 2 meters away, you could go meet up with one friend and have some exercise in the park or whatever. You can now stop and sit down in the park.
You're encouraged to go back to work now, basically.
Yes, basically, if you can go back to work, talk to your employer and go back, which personally I don't agree with. I think that's stupid. I think that's risking a second spike.
Seeing images of tubes and trains full and buses full. So.
It's dangerous, man. And you've got to think, key workers are on these trains and stuff, trying to get to work to be able to do their job. And
they already have reduced services to try and stop the workers of the train companies going in, but everyone's got to get to work somehow.
Yeah.
It's not possible for everyone to walk and get a bike.
Yeah, I think that's something else as well. Is you look at the elderly or the older generation, because let's face it, the only the older people are in work. They are working, as some are key workers, some are just people that need to go back to work to be able to support themselves. You're putting them at risk by sort of pushing them to go back out. Yeah. And obviously you've got that mixed message then. Obviously, I think I'm not too sure in Northern Ireland and Scotland. I haven't really looked up about information on that. But I know in Wales, the only things that have slightly changed is we can go out twice a day now for exercise, but we're still being encouraged to stay at home and not go to work. Which, I know there was a slight change to something else, but
I think garden centres as well.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Garden centre. Yeah.
Happened before England.
Again, I think that's... Yeah. I think personally, I think that's silly as well. I think maybe having 2 forms of exercise a day, absolutely, because then it kind of encourages people, I guess, to get out a bit more, and that's putting a little bit more pressure on the risk of, a spike, but not significantly enough to be a huge risk. It's something. Oh, you can go out twice a day now instead of just once.
The virus is significantly reduced outdoors.
Yeah, exactly.
In the sunshine as well, the UV rays, which apparently makes it not last long.
Yeah, which is always good. I'm glad that was a thing that, they actually did talk about and focused on as well for a little bit. But, yeah. So quite all over the place.
Quite all over the place, but I think much has changed, but at the same time, not much has changed.
Yeah, I think the most worrying thing was, there was an article that was also brought out, I haven't got that up, but there was something about how people are still coming from England to try and cross the border to get into Wales, and they've all been stopped, they've all been fined, and they've all been told to go home. And people just aren't listening, and there's such an overwhelming amount of people that it's impossible now for them to keep on top of it. So people are still getting over here from England, you know. And
I'd imagine in the next 3 weeks that they'd probably unify all the laws and stuff to make it the same in all of the UK.
Hopefully.
It's just ridiculous to me. Because I've got a sister in Wales, and like she's got living by one set of rules, we're living by another one.
Yeah, exactly. It's not fair, and it makes it very, very difficult to be able to, well, you know, be careful, you know, especially when, yeah, as you said, you know, people have family in other parts of the country. It's not just all in one place, so it makes it difficult. And although, yes, you know, multiple people going through this, when these kind of rule changes happen specifically in only one place or whatever, you know, it's you know, it makes things difficult unnecessarily, I think. Pardon me. God, I had a burp. Right.
Every single piece of propaganda we've seen about this is always like never specifies which region they're talking about. It's all England, but UK government guy, like you follow them on Facebook or Twitter or social media. We'll talk about social media later on, but if you see anything on there, it's always directed towards England, but it doesn't say that. So it's a weird one with people from Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland got to kind of just find their own way. They can't look to the government anymore because apparently we're just talking about England.
Yeah, mad. It is very, very tricky. I understand it's a difficult situation, but I mean, you know, this is why it's so important that they need to have such clarity on things, which they're not doing. I get they can't say certain things, but, you know, it's just not great. You know, it could be so much better.
So much better. Look to New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They've definitely handled it in a. I mean, I think as the government said at one point, it was like, well, we've learned from the mistakes of other countries and whatever. Yeah, have you? I mean, I won't say any more on that, but I don't know if I believe that fully. You know, I don't know. But yeah. So on to one of the actual. It's on Sky News. Again, all the links to these articles will be down below. I'm not going to go through the entire article, but essentially the headline is the coronavirus public support for Boris Johnson handling of the COVID-19 pandemic plummets with the poll. Support for handling his peaked in the days that he gave the announcement to the nation to stay at home on the 23rd of March, with 72% of those polled saying the government was doing well, and only 21% was saying he was doing it badly. Now, this was on the 23rd of March, just to reiterate that. So that was back when we first had these implementations and the rules, which seems like another lifetime ago now. The fact that it's been, you know, 2 months nearly. Yeah. That's a long-ass time. It flies by when you're having such great fun. Right, anyway, enough sarcasm. The figures stayed high. Yeah, exactly, I'm sorry. The figures stayed high through the March and April and the start of May. The switch will trigger alarm bells because the government needs the consent of the public more than in normal times. Absolutely, I think that's a fair adjustment to say. So, further down here, asked if they support or oppose the changes last weekend, 36% say they back them, whereas 49% now say they are opposed. Asked how they would change them, 54% of people think the changes go too far in loosening lockdown, 8% want restrictions eased further, and 29% say the balance is about right, while 9% say they're unsure. So, overwhelming majority, you know, over half of the population are saying that he is going too far and it's too soon for loosening the lockdown and whatnot. What's kind of your view on seeing and hearing that kind of thing? You know, knowing that a lot of the population... Again, you know, this is not a bash against people, by the way, who maybe do think they're doing the right thing or maybe aren't sure or anything like that. We're not here to preach to get you to believe one side or the other. It's literally just our take on it, but if you don't like it, that's cool, whatever, you know. You're wrong, but whatever. Well,
it is public opinion, I suppose. Generally, you're not surprised that's the result of that.
Yeah.
That's just the thing of having a government, having this authority that tells us what to do, basically.
Yeah.
We're not going to get warned about it, we just get told.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with the overwhelming majority, in my opinion. I think they're a little bit too far. I think Wales has done good by saying 2 forms of exercise. But I do understand why they have changed it in that, because people obviously want to go see family, they want to spend time there, they don't want to, they're missing their members of their family, so as long as they follow social distancing, again, it comes under common sense. If you follow social distancing, you'll be fine. If you don't, you're part of the problem. That, I think, is just a fair statement, So, don't be silly. The other website article that I've got up by is from the Telegraph. We all know we love them. Coronavirus latest big news. Big lessons need to be learned over the treatment of care homes, Michael Grove admits. For those of you who don't know who Michael Grove is, he is the Cabinet Officer Minister, and even he has admitted that they have failed to provide adequate support to the sector, quoting that it is a challenge that they haven't been able to overcome. What's kind of your take on that? The fact that someone high up in the government has even said, they're not happy with how it's been dealt with. Not just that, but, they admit that they've not handled it great, I think it's a fair assessment, definitely, but what's kind of your take on it?
Better than saying, oh yeah, we had it all under control, we don't see the problems. But yeah, I suppose in this unprecedented times, they haven't had a chance to prepare for this before. Well, I suppose they did have a little bit of warning, but maybe you could have gone noticed sooner. But
yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a problem with care homes.
Yeah. I will say this much. I'm glad that at least he had the honesty to be able to turn and be like, look, okay, yeah, it's been a challenge. We absolutely admit we haven't done enough for that sort of sector. Admittedly, I haven't read through this article in grave detail, so again, I highly advise that you click the link down below to go and read it and take your own opinions from it, because obviously what I'm saying is not set in stone facts. But he has admitted it's been challenging. It's still a challenge that they are trying to overcome. I think I'm happy that he has admitted that, because I think if they were trying to cover it up and be like, oh, we've done fine, we've handled it with great care and attention, I think would just show a lack of not caring. But it shows that they understand that they've done wrong. Now, hopefully they can sort of act on it as well and prove to us that they are trying to at least do some things, I think. Definitely. Right. And just to end this part of lockdown off, since there's really not much else to talk about or mention on it, unless you've...
We're kind of getting fed up with that lockdown.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one to talk about. It's good to talk about it, I think, because at least every week, even if for a short time, because it's nice to know new news, stuff that's been announced, things that have been said. It's important to stay on top of it. Stay up to date, but...
stay alert.
Stay alert. Don't... Oh, fuck. Sorry, I killed him. That's my bad. But yeah, no, absolutely. But the actual daily chart for cases and things like that. So I'll read these figures out, and then we'll go from there. Feel free to restart the mission if you want to. My bad. So there is a total of 240,000 still confirmed in the UK, which is an increase of 3,450 since yesterday. No more deaths have been recorded yet as of today, and there is still overall 34,466 deaths. Now that is in the United Kingdom. I can't read the recovered because we are no longer in the UK reporting them, which I have my own opinions on, but we'll leave it at that. Worldwide, there is a confirmed 4.66 million confirmed to have had it. 1.7 million have recovered, and sadly 312,000 have unfortunately passed away from the virus. So that's all of those. That's all of that stuff. That's all the news and stuff.
News broadcast.
Yes, that's all that part. We won't focus too much on it because, let's face it, it's not a nice thing to talk about for a long time.
It's a pandemic.
Yeah, and we absolutely spent an hour on it last week, which is a long ass time.
Yeah.
So, right, on to our next section. Games.
Oh, yeah.
Have you got any gaming stuff you want to talk about, my dude?
Gaming stuff. Why don't we start with you?
Okay. Delightful. Right, okay. Yeah, no, I've got 2 articles on the Division 2, which we'll get into a bit later, that I did save. So we'll have a look into them. But the first thing I want to talk about is actually the game that we're currently playing. Sorry if you're just listening to this in the background, but, you know. We are actually playing a Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Yes.
We've actually been having a lot of fun with it, surprisingly. It has, well, in my opinion, it has got a lot better since a year ago. I mean, it's still filled to the brim with microtransactions, sadly, but, you know, just ignore that. Or don't ignore them, but try to, if you're going to play the game, there is a good game here to play.
Just a good one. And it helps that we've been playing it together. We played pretty much the whole thing together. We've gone off and done our own things at some points, but...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Playing with a friend is definitely the way to go with this this game. You don't want to be... You can play it on your own, but it's just not that fun.
That's kind of the idea behind it. All the advertisements and stuff I saw for it all had like people playing together, you know, whether they were cheesy or not. Celebrities.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposed to be played with friends essentially. But although we have played some parts solo, and we both agreed the other day that it's still not a bad game solo.
Oh, definitely no. What's your favourite things about the game? Start with that.
My favourite thing is probably the gunplay and the combat. I'm not great at it, you know, as people probably know. Betraying the side, dying all the time.
You got it.
I do like the stealth element of it as well. Like it's not too difficult to grasp.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the progression and feeling rewarded for what you're doing, basically.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think I would agree. I definitely like the gunplay. The gunplay's fun. I like John Bernthal in it. He's very, very fun to watch when he's on screen. Definitely commands the screen. Definitely, he is the highlight of all the acting. Yeah, no, I like the world. It's a bloody huge world with a lot of shit to do. So I mean, you know, you got plenty of stuff to go around and explore. And I think that's probably one of the aspects you'll have more fun if you're doing it on your own, just to kill a few hours or whatever. Just go around exploring stuff, have music, have a podcast on in the background, you know, just something. Something there.
I watched some cutscenes from the story. Like, you know, you sometimes watch these things on YouTube, like games as a film. You can watch the whole game as a film, and I tried to do that with the story of it. It's like, oh god, this is like really bad.
Yeah.
And then when I started playing it, it's that gameplay that has hooked me rather than the story.
Yeah.
I mean, the story's still not bad.
It's definitely not a great story, but it's not bad. Yeah.
It's more expansive than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the gameplay, the moment-to-moment gameplay in the setting that really makes you want to play it.
Excuse me, absolutely, definitely. Sorry. What things would you like to see added to the game if they were to add anything or change stuff around?
It feels like a pretty complete experience so far, but I mean, I've not got to the end of this campaign yet, so there's still always stuff to do. But I'm going to reach a point where there's nothing to do when I've done everything.
Yeah. Like for instance, we've only just, I think, both of us have reached level 30 now, which in game is kind of the top level for sort of, you know, leveling up wise.
Yeah. Level,
yes. Yeah. So, yeah. That's just
adding more levels, more gear score, more things to do, more tie-ins with films. They've obviously got a Terminator event, they've got the Sam Fisher,
Splinter Cell stuff,
event.
Which we're going to go through eventually.
Stuff like that. Probably more different modes, like hard mode or something similar.
A survival mode kind of thing.
Scenarios which you can play with your friends, which are different every time rather than the same.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot more they could add. I think definitely the idea of like a horde mode, that would be really good. Obviously, again, we have not got to the end, so we can't really comment on not having anything to do. There is a fuck ton to do. I mean, Christ. If you look at my map, I have explored. I think I've put 40 hours into this game, and I've not even. I think I've uncovered maybe half of the map, roughly, give or take. but there is a lot of gameplay here. Like, you're going to spend hours in it, so I think for us right now it'd be difficult to
If you're a
comment
fan
on.
of the open world and you like collecting things, this is definitely...
It's the hoarder's paradise. See it that way. Like, it's collect everything. And it's really like you got so much space. You never run out of space for stuff. You're constantly picking items and stuff up. I think the loot could maybe be a little more interesting. Like, after you've seen about, for each class, there's about 3 guns, which sounds like a lot, but they do get very similar over time.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, I think it's quite a solid game so far compared to launch. That's the thing I'm going to say, is compared to... It is by no means a great, amazing, fantastic 10 out of 10 game, but it is a time waster. It's a fun time waster to play with friends. You're about to, you know... You're going to have a lot of fun doing it, and it's going to be an enjoyable experience, especially when you've got a friend with you.
Yeah, we've only been playing it with just the 2 of us, so I imagine it.
Mostly, yeah.
Four people, old friends, that'd be...
Yeah, and we can't comment on the raid, because we haven't even stepped foot in that thing yet, because you have to have 4 people for it, and there's only 2 of us. So,
yeah.
But eventually, we will comment on that when we get to it. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Assassin's Creed Rogue, since I finished that this week as well.
Oh, yes. That's the one where you play as the villain.
Yeah, it's another Templar story. So, for those of you who don't know, Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 both kind of tie into Rogue. The gameplay from kind of Assassin's Creed 4 is kind of what Rogue is based around, and then the story is kind of heavily pulled from like Assassin's Creed 3. So, you know, you have Edward Kenway in there. The Templars are linked to the Assassins, but you're kind of seeing Achilles' past as well from Assassin's Creed 3, who sort of guides Connor and helps him become slightly better. As a remaster, it's alright. Same bugs, same issues, same broken gameplay at times. The game actually kind of, in my opinion, looks a bit worse than the original. But saying that, I am playing it on a console. And I know that obviously the PC master race might find that offensive. But, yeah, no, I imagine if you're playing it on PC, it might look a bit better, it might run a bit better.
Please try that again.
Go away! Alexa's talking to me, what the fuck? Right, but yeah, no. Not a bad game, not great. The story definitely holds that game quite well, I think. I enjoyed the story to it. But, yeah, gameplay definitely could have been improved a little bit more. There's plenty of side stuff to do. Absolute butt ton of side stuff. I mean, I didn't get through it all, because I basically 100%ed Assassin's Creed 4, so I was not in the mood to 100% Rogue.
Yeah.
But definitely a good game. I'd say is it worth getting the remaster? When it's on sale, yeah, sure. I wouldn't say pay full price for it, because it's not warranted of that, but definitely when it's on sale, pick it up. It's a good game to play through, especially if you've played all the other Assassin's Creed games. You'll enjoy it a lot. So
I think I've pretty much played all the Assassin's Creed games.
What's been your favourite one
Quite
so far?
Probably Odyssey for the amount of time I spent on it, but that also had its problems. Maybe not all. The story wasn't as amazing as it could have been, maybe because it's so large and the depth was so much, and it's more like an RPG, and the assassin's element was kind of forgotten.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't. That's one I've still yet to play, so I'm getting there.
I'm not sure I'm a fan of the whole futuristic part, well, present day part of the new games anyway. It seemed a bit shoehorned in.
Yeah, I think I would say the same thing about Rogue. Obviously, it's Templars that are trying to get like information or whatever, but it definitely feels like an afterthought. You know, ever since since I would say Revelations, which is the final one technically, where you're playing as real life Templars and stuff.
Yeah.
I think in the third one as well, you have Desmond and all that, but it's definitely an afterthought after, I'd say, the third one. It's not something they really want you to focus on. It's kind of boring, go around, do lackluster puzzles to unlock computers, to learn more lore. It definitely felt very repetitive and boring.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, no. Overall, I'd recommend it if you want to. Yeah, I love the Assassin series. I collected the Hitachi Paintworks things, which I've got to go back to at some point and finish off my collection. I absolutely loved them, but definitely Yeah, Rogue's a good game in its own right, and I definitely think that if you haven't played them yet, you definitely should go back through and play the Assassin's games. Some of them have aged better than others, but just bear with them.
Just don't play
They
the
are
first
fun.
one.
I don't know. I'll tell you, it's a crucial one to play, but I think that's more, be very forgiving for that game because there are a lot of things that get improved on as you go through the series. So if you can kind of overlook them, absolutely. Now, Vic has put 3 comments in the chat. I would like your opinion on them. Albert Einstein never wore socks.
Well, that's an improvement over wearing non-matching socks.
Yeah. Well, come on. that's what I do. That's what I do, man. They're socks. Unforgivable. Oh, fair enough. I didn't realise you were so passionate about pears. Oh, fuck. Right, okay. Grapes explode when you put them in the microwave. I imagine so.
I don't know about that. I really want to try frozen grapes, though.
Oh, I didn't realise this was an actual thing that you wanted to focus on. Right, okay. Why?
I said to you today I wanted to try frozen grapes because apparently if you just eat them straight from the freezer, it tastes like just eating sweets or something.
Oh, fair enough. Ooh,
Anyway.
well, that's something I'm going to have to look into and try. And finally, it is illegal to carry ice cream in your back pocket in Kentucky. I mean, if that's true, that's ridiculous.
Why the fuck would you want to carry ice cream in your back pocket?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's a ridiculous law, but I mean, why would you want to do that in the first place? Just seems a bit pointless.
Yeah, it should be illegal everywhere.
Oh, man.
Prosecutable offence. What are you in for?
How could they?
I had a Magnum in my back pocket. Not the gun.
Oh, man. Right.
Apparently, I read, keep on going on the Assassin's Creed, I've read that Valhalla, the map is apparently going to be larger than Odyssey. Even though it's not meant to be as big a game.
Yeah, because that's what I've heard. It's meant to be a smaller game. So when they say that, do you think they're taking the Yakuza route? So having like a smaller map, but with a fuck ton of stuff to do? Or do you actually think they're going to go that route then and have like an even bigger map? And
I reckon it's going to be even bigger, but emptier.
Yeah, Christ, I hope not.
Because they've got to outdo themselves every year, and probably to impress their managers or whatever.
I definitely think they should go the Yakuza route. Smaller map but a bunch of stuff to do. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a better route to take. In my opinion, anyway, that's what I found. Like, this is a good game, as we said, but I mean, it's a huge map with, and let's be honest, not a lot of different things to do. You're pretty much doing the same thing whenever you go.
Yeah, fetch quests.
Yeah, it gets boring damn quick.
I mean, you can dress them up how they want, but they're still fetch quests.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the towers from Far Cry, which always used to get taken the piss out of.
Oh.
But I didn't mind the towers personally myself, but I understood why people weren't a massive fan of them. Right, on to the Division 2. So update 9.1 dropped. This was last week, or this week. No, it was this week it dropped. Right. But yeah, apparently, what do you think I'm gonna say?
It broke more than it fixed.
Oh, I wonder. Makes NPCs just worse all around. So I will put this. Yeah, I will put this article. By the way, this article is on massively overpowered. So it is an article that's basically talking about Division 2's next update, which was an update on the TU9 patch that came out, which we all know how that went. But apparently it's just made the NPCs worse. So I'll read through the article again. I'll put the article down below. It was done by a person called Elliot Lefebvre. I apologise if I said the name wrong. Probably have. It was published on May 14th at 5 PM. Ooh. But yes, I'll try and just highlight some certain things from here. So NPC weapons are dealing less damage in several cases, especially Hyena Assault SMGs. Grenade accuracy lower, blind fire accuracy lower. NPCs are even being turned to less aggressive now. Probably in a deep depression because these days they can't even bombard players with pinpoint accuracy grenade throws, so what is even the point anymore? If you start feeling bad for the NPCs, of course, that's silly. They're code. But you can also take a look at the latest state of the game, which focuses more on the general player balance issues that Update 9.1 was meant to fix, as well as toward the new features planned for Update 10. There's also confirmation that crossplay for consoles and PC is not currently in the cards, and talk about planning for the game's second season to boot. So the second season isn't even something they're considering talking about right now, which, again, I think I'm kind of glad. I think I'm kind of glad to hear that, though. Now all they've got to do is actually fix their fucking game. It's nice to hear that they have worked on the AI to make them not so much... It's not nice to hear that they've under-weakened them. I can't comment on this because I haven't touched the game since we finished the Manhunt. Which, yes, we went back and finished the Manhunt, and yes, it was just as boring and monotonous as you can imagine.
It's kind of a miserable experience.
Yeah.
It was fun because we were talking and chatting while we were doing it, but it's miserable the fact that the game, it broke on the very first mission we tried to do.
Yeah.
as usual.
Yeah. It was just...
It's just kind of a slog to get through.
Yeah, it was not. It wasn't exactly a fun experience. It's why I actually talked about maybe streaming the Manhunt, and then I changed my mind because I just knew it wasn't going to be fun. Plus, you know,
agreed that it's just.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be fun. You know, it's just going to be annoying and frustrating. So it seemed a bit pointless. But yeah, no. The idea that they've nerfed the enemies, okay, cool, but you don't need to.
Behaviors.
Yeah, which is. Again, I don't know. It just seems like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to fix their game. I think they're a bit lost. Which is a shame, because that game has a lot of potential. I know something me and you spoke about, Sean, was that we both uninstalled Division 1. It was nice to go back and experience that game again. And but you can tell
That's
there are
anything
improvements.
Against.
Oh, yeah,
It's
no.
not anything against Division 1, it's just
Absolutely
the fact that we're in a new generation now. And, it's fun to go down nostalgia memory lane. But...
Yeah, I think if anyone was going to go into this series for the first time, definitely play Division 1 first. Absolutely. You're going to have a lot more fun with that game, playing that first. Because then you can also appreciate what they have changed for Division 2 and what they have improved on and stuff. But there are quite a lot of things that Division 2 needs to work on, I think. I think we've covered this enough in like many other podcasts and things. So, yeah, a shame, but hopefully, you know, I don't know, Massive hopefully can get their stuff together soon and figure something out. I'm glad that they're not pushing the crossplay thing and they're not pushing Season 2 yet. That gives me hope that they're kind of focusing on their game and hopefully they'll fix it. I mean, that's probably well misplaced hope.
Operation Health, like a lot of other games do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being over optimistic. I probably am, but I really want this game to shine and do well. So hopefully it'll turn out that is exactly what they're doing, and they're going to do hopefully a good job of it. But yeah, only time will tell. Yes, absolutely. And the final thing that I've got for gaming, at least anyway, is I'm currently playing through the last season of The Walking Dead. Now, this came out in 2018 and had a absolutely messy development cycle. I mean, let's not lie here. There was a lot of issues. A lot. I mean, the thing that
companies, the Telltale games went down or something.
Oh yeah, no, they went completely bankrupt while making it, and this is because Telltale got cocky. Apparently, from what I can recall, like the CEO and I think the VP as well, also got very cocky, and they started buying up all these IPs. Obviously, we had a Guardians of the Galaxy one, we had a Batman series, we had a Game of Thrones series, and I'll be honest, I've bought all of their series. Don't get me wrong, I have. I've played through the Game of Thrones one. That was very lackluster, not very interesting, wasn't very good. I've got the 2 Batman series, I haven't played through them yet. I've got the Minecraft ones, I haven't played through them yet. I've played through like the first 4 episodes, I think, of the Minecraft first series, and that was okay. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was okay.
I'd say that they're all minus The Walking Dead, minus what's the other one that is considered the best.
Wolf Among Us, yeah, Wolf Among Us.
I'd say they're all pretty mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, I've played through the first 2 episodes. Yeah, I played through the first 2 episodes of Guardians of the Galaxy one, and that one I stopped playing. I'm going back. I'm going to go back and finish it, but I stopped playing it because it was just. I mean, the films are leagues above it. You know, and it's sad to say that, but they really shouldn't have even touched a Marvel thing, not for a very, very long time at least. Anyway. And then obviously the Batman one was heavily criticised. I think the second season was more criticised than the first, I think. But obviously The Walking Dead, when they were making the last season, Telltale ended up getting bankrupt and had to completely forfeit everything over. I think Skybound Studios actually helped them finish off the episodes. They even lowered the series. It was meant to originally be 5 episodes. It then became 4. So I'm on the 3rd episode now. I've almost finished the 3rd episode. I think I'm just at the end of the 2nd act. They are definitely longer episodes, but you can tell it's not Telltale's game. You know, Skybound have definitely, they did the heavy lifting for this one. It's definitely
interesting to hear how Skybound kind of took over, because it's not kind of rare for that to happen when a game goes down. Even though they were midstream.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
This episodic nature of games is very kind of recent.
Yeah, no, Telltale blew it out of the water with the Walking Dead series they made. Absolutely killed it. I think A New Frontier was kind of hit or miss. I wasn't that fond of it personally. The second season, the first season were really, really good. And then this last season, the first 2 episodes have been fun, right? I've enjoyed them. It's been a really interesting tale of seeing Clementine as an actual teenager now. She's all grown up, you know. I had a really emotional moment, which I won't spoil. For the simple fact that if you haven't played them, I highly recommend going to play them if you're a fan of all of the series of The Walking Dead ones. There was a very emotional scene in episode 3, and I'm guaranteed the ending to this is going to be something I'm going to fucking bawl my eyes out at. But it was very interesting to see a lovely return to a character who we haven't seen for a very long time. And it was nice. It was nice, man. That's all I can say. It was nice. But I think Skybound have handled it very well. I think they've treated it with respect. I think they've actually done a better job than Telltale themselves could have done with the series, to be honest. By the time the 3rd series came out, it was fairly obvious. I don't think they really cared about the Walking Dead series anymore. But for those of you who didn't know, the Overkill's The Walking Dead was a shambles of a game. Skybound were actually the publishers on that. They worked with Starbreeze they hired Starbreeze obviously to work on the game, and that game was so bad that after I think less than a week, it was pulled from every storefront. Everyone. It was that unpopular and that bad, so it was not good. But I think they've done a really good job with it. Hopefully the ending, which I shall tell you about next week, she'll be good. But obviously, we can hope. I don't know. What was your experience with Telltale and what games you had played and stuff?
I enjoyed the Walking Dead. I've not played the most recent series that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I played the Batman season 1. That was pretty good actually, minus some of the bugs that it had at the time when I played it. But I have patched them out since then. I played Game of Thrones one. I wasn't that impressed with that because why would you play the Game of Thrones and just watch the series?
Yeah, just if you want a good Game of Thrones, just go and watch the series. Just don't watch the ending. Don't watch the ending. Just watch the series.
Other than that, I can't really complain about. Most of them I picked up via PlayStation Plus, so they get them free.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that tells you about them, but
yeah, exactly.
Still good game. Different, episodic. Like that's kind of thing that's introduced this decade, really. Well, maybe the previous decade, but it's the episodic nature of games. It's interesting.
I like it.
Every month or so.
Yeah, it's like a monthly thing. I definitely think if another company could take that handle and do like an episodic game and make it work, I really liked it.
Did they do something similar? Like the developers of Until Dawn, they did like that.
I know Until Dawn was kind of like a film kind of thing, but it was set in sort of episodes, I guess. I know the Man of Median. That was a really good game. That was not so much episodic, but it was treated like an episodic thing. There's quite a few that have done big games that work quite well. I don't know.
Maybe it's trying to copy like kind of TV shows. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine? This is something I actually want to talk to you about. We own the Friday the 13th game. We've played it a lot. Obviously, there's no more updates and stuff because of licensing and whatever. But can you imagine sort of a game that's based on a slasher film like that, but episodic, or like a film, like a proper film? That kind of stuff possibly could work. Not saying it would. I mean, the game is okay. It's not great. But it was fun with friends and things, but it's kind of that view on it, isn't
I would like
it?
to see something like that. I love horror films.
I know that there's a new, obviously after Man of Medium, there is a sequel to Man of Medium, like a spiritual successor of such, because it's part of the, I think it's the anthology that they're working on, and it's got one of my favourite actors in it. I'll see if I can actually get the name of it up now, because it is a good one. Let's have a look. Yeah, Dark Pictures. That's the one. Supermassive Games. They're the ones that are developing it. Very, very well done studio, I have to admit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Until Dawn. Like that.
Yeah, that was good.
I love me some horror.
Little Hope. That's the next one that's in the series now to come.
Because they're kind of shorter games, but they kind of following the episodic thing in that there's not much time between each of them and released.
Yeah, it's
probably developed many of them at once and then releasing them as they're ready.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Little Hope has got oh god, I'm trying to find the cast for it because sadly I can't remember his name. He is a very, very, very good actor though. Been in a lot of stuff. He was in like The Maze Hunter, Meet the Fockers. No, was it Meet the Fockers? Meet the Robinsons, I think maybe. He was also in Bandersnatch, the Black Mirror interactive episode on Netflix. That was really, really good. Oh, fuck. I'm trying to rack my brain to try and remember it because I don't want to forget it.
Put the name down below afterwards.
Will Poulter. There you go. Will Poulter. Very, very good actor. So I'm excited about that. But those kind of games could take the place, I guess, of the episodic kind of thing. But do you reckon that another company should take up kind of what Telltale did, or do you think that if they're going to do an episodic thing, they have to change it up because how unique that formula was, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was unique to Telltale. That was their selling point, I think. I don't know. I think probably similar things could come out. I know there's some kind of cheap knockoffs going around, but I think that the company would have to kind of expand their horizons, think outside the box if they're going to do something similar.
Oh yeah.
I think every time you think about an episodic game, you think of Telltale game.
Yeah, it's like the first one, yeah. Mad.
Yeah.
It is an interesting insight into that kind of world.
Yeah.
Which I think is a damn shame. A damn shame that unfortunately Telltale collapsed, but unfortunately that's what greed does to people.
Got greedy.
Yeah, exactly. No, they bought every IP up, thought they'd make millions, and it all came crashing down. Shame, but definitely.
They just ended up making poor man's versions of the things that they were trying to make.
Yeah, it's like they ended up trying to make the things they had made, and they failed to do it in different IPs, and I think that's the biggest shame. And The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us. It's very, very much a shame The Wolf Among Us 2 is not happening now. I know when that got announced, I flipped my shit. I was like over the moon. I was like, finally they're doing it, and then we're closing our doors. You fucking what? So, but hopefully another company will like maybe take up the mantle and attempt to make the season 2. I don't know, but I would like to see that premonition happen. But whether it will or not, I don't know. Shame, but shame. So anything related to gaming that you wanted to touch on, or
not really related to gaming?
We can move along.
I have much else on there. It's a shame the media, as I was saying, film business is kind of on hold at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It makes it very difficult.
New things coming out. It's like game.
Yeah. We have got an exciting September coming up, but obviously Last of Us 2, we've talked about that, but I'm looking forward to that coming out again. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I still avoided
kind of
spoilers.
General news to talk about, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll have to start looking at general news, I think, and properly for gaming and things. I have a quick gander here and there, but
Yeah.
I tend not to look too much at media. I'm not a fan of it. But there we are.
I've got some statistics. Well, not statistics. Some facts here.
Go on, then.
It's related to lockdown, but not really.
Okay. Go for it.
Basically about pollution.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Apparently, obviously, with this whole scenario, pollution has gone down a hell of a lot. Nitrogen dioxide in Europe is down by 40%.
Holy shitballs! Holy shitballs!
That is kind of a big contributor to a lot of respiratory conditions in a lot of people, such as asthma and stuff like that. Apparently, respiratory conditions cause 470,000 deaths a year. So that number, with the pollution being down, is the experts are saying it's going to be really reduced this year.
Oh, that's good.
So, do you think that this will change our ways of living, trying to be a bit more eco-friendly?
I think it's a good message. Unfortunately, whether people will listen, I don't know. I think
now just in a couple of weeks you can get the nitrogen dioxide levels down by 40%. That's like almost half.
Absolutely, it's a huge achievement, definitely, and I think it's definitely something that we should focus on a bit more. I think it'd be a shame to waste the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's being realistic.
We've been given this great opportunity to kind of make a difference in our lives.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And a lot of people are saying they can't really go back to how things were, like, you know, working 6 days a week, 50 hours, and all this. They're saying we want shorter work weeks and stuff like that. We want more time to ourselves. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's something that should be looked into and worked on a bit more. Definitely.
When you're forced to pause, then you think about, you know, what is the meaning of life?
Yeah. Oh god, that's when you get really deep. That's that really deep shit. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's definitely an opportunity for us to look at how we could improve stuff. I know, obviously, in the UK, they're pushing this new kind of bike to work and all that kind of thing. But I think there's other ways to get about that kind of stuff as well, being maybe more considerate of people's situations, and definitely electric cars. That's one way to go at it, but I mean that's very expensive, so I think it's just a group effort.
I'd be really worried if I had an electric car, because they say it's like travel anxiety or something. Like, the further you get, are you going to reach somewhere which has a charging point before you break down?
Well, I think they've said that they're putting like a lot of money, I think something like $1 billion or something, into, you know, setting more of those things up. But that's going to take time. Again, it's that thing of it's going to take years to get to that point, to be able to sort of have the confidence enough to be able to be like, oh no, we'll be fine now. But it's getting to that point. Going
forward, there'll be a lot more focus on it. But right now, I don't know how it is like around you, but I can't find many charging stations. I know it's local supermarkets, we've got like 2 charging spots.
I think our local Tesco, there's one.
Which is like, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. I think if they seriously want people to put money and invest, because let's face it, electrical cars are expensive.
Yeah.
You really need to start setting up more points, making it more accessible, making it more of a realistic option. But again, that's something to focus on long term, not so much, you know, while this pandemic's going on. It's a great idea, but, you know,
it's great to start thinking about it more.
Definitely. I think it's definitely going to make people more aware of how badly we are actually treating this planet, when in actual fact we could be treating it a lot better. Oh yeah, no, not at all. But definitely there are ways that we could be treating the world we live on. Spoiled brat. Yeah, no. I think she's got a good positive message, but I do think her age is kind of something that goes against her. You know, I think she's speaking absolute truth, but she hasn't really lived enough to understand these things fully.
I think she's kind of being puppeted by a bunch of grown-ups who are like, everyone relates to Greta, so she is
absolutely.
The business.
I don't think it's fair to put
fair enough, she's got good intentions.
Yeah, I think it's not fair to put someone like that young in the limelight either, you know. But, you know, that's just, you know.
A quick aside.
I'd like, if you want to chime off in those comments, whether you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, feel free. I'd love to have a conversation about
Greta
that kind of
Thunberg,
stuff.
yay or nay?
Yay or nay? Yeah.
Chime off.
chime off in those comments. Hashtag chime off. I've stolen that. I've stolen that from BuzzFeed Unsolved. I'm sorry, but I like it. I'm sticking with it. Yeah.
Copyright lawsuit incoming.
Yeah. Nice. And anything else? Do you see that you had like another point?
There is some general news here relating to science. I don't know if this is relevant to any section of this podcast. But we can say it anyway.
Yeah, go on. It's a nice little breakup because we haven't really got much films and stuff to talk about. So yeah, go for it. Check it out there.
Okay, so basically, there has been this article is from February 20th this year. There's been a mysterious radio signal from deep space that has been picked up, and it's the very first one that's been recurring every 16 days. It's got a pattern to it.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
So it's also the nearest one they've discovered. So it's not uncommon to have different kind of signals and energy sources in space that they pick up on.
Yeah.
But they're not usually in a pattern. This is the very first one that has got some kind of pattern or like repetitiveness to it. So it kind of begs the question: is there more life out there?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Well, what's your kind of take on it? Do you believe in aliens and things, or are you quite, reserved? Are you reserved?
I don't know about aliens, like, UFO is gonna come down and probe us.
It's probing time. Yeah, I love Paul.
But I'd like to think there's more intelligent life out there. If the miracle of the Earth can exist, then there's got to be something else out there,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
This is their way of trying to communicate with them.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I do believe in aliens and things, but I don't know. I don't. There are a lot of abduction stories I don't believe. Okay, let me just make this clear. I don't believe a lot of abduction stories. I think people are nuts most of the time. But there are a few instances, maybe we'll talk about them in the future or something, but there are a few instances where I am quite sort of a bit unsure. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, no, 100% real, but definitely questionable at the least, But yeah, no, I believe there is other life out there. Whether it looks like kind of what we think it looks like, I don't know. I do believe in the fact that there's probably another civilization out there that looks like us, just looks human, but, just a different race. I could believe that.
More advanced.
If our world happened, why can't that be a real thing? So
many elements have to come together to make this world.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely possible.
Else similar out there.
Yes, absolutely. I could 100% agree with that.
Maybe they've already got the PS5.
Yeah, maybe they're on PlayStation 20. Who knows what technology they hold? Gaming could be better.
Leagues ahead of it.
I know. I'm so upset. Why couldn't we be that raised?
Why can't we live there?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, that's a little, just some little interesting things I picked up on throughout the week.
Yeah, definitely.
Not 10 minutes ago.
Not 10 minutes ago, just throughout the week. No, absolutely. That's. I like that one. That one's a really interesting one, especially like. So what is it? What have they described it as? Just like kind of the same sort of signal coming from the same place, or
mysterious radio signal? Like they're saying it could be from a black hole or something's orbiting cycle or something. But it's just like
That's
a weird
true.
thing. The fact that it's so frequent and recurring.
Well, we don't know what
Not
black holes
everyone
are still. Yeah,
No.
not fully. Interesting.
But yeah, it's 500 million light years away, but that's still the nearest.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot, but I guess when you're talking about space travel and stuff, that's probably not that far, I guess.
Yeah.
If you took it, because there's light years, which, Jesus, so, I mean...
Oh, that's reminding me of something, I hate to bring it back to coronavirus again, but Trump and Operation Lightspeed.
Operation Lightspeed? Ooh.
He's determined to find a cure by the end of the year to this virus. And if not, business will resume as usual.
Oh, God. That man is insufferable.
I believe he's called it Operation Lightspeed or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a cool name, but fucking it.
Yeah, I named it something cool, so it must be a good thing.
He's trying to be like Reagan or something in space. Space is cool.
I don't know. I have my opinions on Trump. Same as I have my opinions on Boris, I think...
I should have brought that up when we were talking about
I think, well, I think in their own right, incredible people, but, in positions of power, they shouldn't. they shouldn't be given it, but there we are.
Yeah.
Just quickly, 2 comments that have come up in the chat, both from Vic. Apparently, they made it illegal to curb horse theft. The horse will follow you because of the ice cream cone. So that's apparently the reason that it's banned in Kentucky. So horse theft. Weird, but fair enough. Interesting fact. And apparently grapes turn into fireballs. I don't want to know if you've just tried that, so that's why you know. I don't know. I'll leave that up.
Imagine microwaving any fruit, maybe apples. I don't know.
I'll be honest, I've never looked at a fruit or vegetable and gone, I'd like to microwave that. It's never occurred to me. I bet it would look amazing when it burns.
Yeah. Burst into flames.
Oh, I've never really focused on that.
Liquid water content in them might make them explode.
Oh, mate, no, that makes sense. How did we get here? Right, okay. Is that it? Ask it, yeah. Why did you send us on this direction? Right, okay. So, anything else?
That was all for the little interesting news roundup.
Okie dokie. Well, should we move on to movies, TV, and Netflix?
Sure.
Ooh, and the first thing isn't even in one of them. It's The Mandalorian. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But
Disney Plus.
what was your opinion on it?
I really liked Mandalorian. I thought it was a brilliant. It came at the right time when people were losing a bit of faith in Star Wars with the recent Skywalker saga.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah, we won't talk about that again, but
yeah. No, absolutely.
I think it is a good piece of Star Wars media that people needed.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Absolutely.
It rekindled my love. It makes you think, oh yes, this is why I like Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got all the characteristics and the likable characters and droids that we all love.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love The Mandalorian, and let's face it, Baby Yoda just so cute.
Yeah, it steals your heart.
Yeah, no, it is a fantastic series. I did finish it. Absolutely loved every second of it. I even the middle part where it kind of slowed down a bit just to kind of explain characters and why they're there.
Yeah.
I think towards the end there were a couple of points where they sort of glossed over a little just to kind of make it work, but they weren't like huge major plot holes or anything. The idea in the end as well, allowing the Mandalorian to take his helmet off to a droid, letting the droid heal him, even though he despised droids, but this droid had sort of helped him to be more caring and understanding.
Yeah.
Definitely a very important changing moment for him.
Yeah, the IG-11 droid, nurse droid.
Oh god, it was adorable. I actually loved that. I was very upset when that droid exploded. I must admit that's something Star Wars does extremely well, regardless of what film, series, whatever. It really does give the droids a personality and a life, even just through noises and things. Like, you really do become attached to these as actual characters. So it's something they do very, very well when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, the droids are probably one of the best things about it.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite character?
IG-11.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he was my favourite. Well, It was my favourite character in the first episode, and obviously we didn't see it then to the second.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. But I was like, I knew this is going to be my favourite.
Yeah,
Because it's just simple. Do not self-destruct. Initiating self-destruct. And the fact that it has a little arc of its own. It's like, oh, it was a bounty hunter droid, and now it's a nurse droid. Oh.
So initiating self-destruct. Don't initiate self-destruct!
But yeah, Baby Yoda can't be missed either. And
absolutely, yeah.
I can't really remember the names of the rest of them, so...
Honestly, to just have a quick ganders of the cast, let's face it, Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian,
yes,
outstanding job. Really, really believable. The way they integrated the childhood in there. Whew!
Oh yeah, when the signet forging.
Oh man,
they're also good.
Yeah. Oh, when he finally deserved his little signet on him. Amazing. Episode 5. Episode 5 as well was a particular standout to me. simply because of the cast in it, man. The cast. Richard Ayoade, I think that's how you say his second name. Ayoade, sorry, as the bot from IT Crowd. Really funny, worked really well. Clancy Brown as Berg. I mean, you know, incredible. Bill Burr, absolutely outstanding. And then obviously the woman that played Tonks from Harry Potter, Natalia Tina, I believe was her name. Brilliant, absolutely outstanding cast for that episode, and pulled it off very, very well. Yeah, no, really enjoyed it. Really fun.
That was the prison
Stuff.
infiltration.
Yes, that was it. Gina Car... fucking hell, I can never pronounce her name. Gina Carano as well, the former Imperial trooper that ended up working with him. She's been in a lot of stuff that I didn't realise.
She was in Deadpool.
Yeah, she was in Fast and Furious 6. She was in Deadpool. She was also a UFC fighter for many years. She's been in a few good films, but yeah, Deadpool was her most probably notable one, with which was the superhero landing. She's gonna do a superhero landing.
Yeah.
Boom. So it was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. So
I mean, someone that we, I've heard other people say that they didn't like her in this series because she seemed a bit smug or like couldn't express emotions. But
I think that's kind of part of her character, though, personally, for me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think she definitely shows enough emotion. I mean, Christ, look at the ending kind of episodes. You know, when they're worried about the fact they might die in this silly little fucking bar. When they're surrounded, she's showing emotion. I think she can be quite dry sometimes, but I think that's just part of her character. I don't think, you know.
It's not worth making a fuss about.
Yeah, no, I think she was very good. And then, lest we forget, the man himself, Gus, from Breaking Bad. I apologise, I can't remember his name. Oh dear.
I know who you mean, though.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, yeah, I wish I could remember his name, because I feel very, very bad for not being able to remember. What was his name in the actual thing? Oh yeah, and of course, it's another one, Taika Waititi. He was in The Mandalorian. He was IG-11.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Mad.
He's called Giancarlo Esposito. Esposito.
Esposito. Yeah, no, absolutely. He was very, very imposing, and I won't spoil the ending, but the ending of the last episode, the position they put him in to set up for like another season or whatever, or a spin-off or whatever. No, absolutely, very, very good.
He was like an Imperial general warlord thing.
Yeah. Mad.
But he's very menacing, very good, and he had the little, I don't know if we should talk spoilers, but...
Yeah. Take on. Spoil.
They had the dark saber in there, which is a good prominent thing from Clone Wars and Rebels. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very good, very good. And then let's not forget the some of the incredible directors that worked on this stuff as well. You know, you had Bryce Dallas Howard. She directed one of the episodes. You know, Taika Waititi did an episode. Like, this series really had some star power, not only in front of the camera but behind the camera supporting it. It was incredible. Very well made. I can't wait for season 2. I know it's been confirmed and they're working on it, I believe. So, yeah, absolutely.
He was called Moff Gideon in Mandalorian.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, because that... Yeah. There we go. We got there. We got it. Excuse me. Yeah, no. Very, very good. I love that series. And for me to say that when I'm not actually a big fan of Star Wars in itself anyway, I mean, you know, I do very much have to admit I can't deny that series was made not only very well, but incredibly interesting.
And it's a premiere kind of Disney Plus thing.
Yeah, they definitely won a lot of people over with that, I think. Yeah, any films or anything that you want to talk about?
I haven't watched much. I started watching an Amazon series called Upload, which is very good. It's all about uploading your consciousness after death into paradise cyber world.
Oh God, I don't know if I'd want to do that.
That's a big debate.
Yeah.
So you live forever, basically.
Ooh.
If you've got enough money for it.
Oh yeah, everything comes down to money. Hi, Robin. Robin has now entered. No, no. Alexa, piss off.
How does your Alexa sound at like higher pitch?
I don't know. I'm gonna make her voice like fucking Gordon Ramsay. But yes, hello, Robin. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Robin.
Yeah, no.
You feeling better today?
Yeah. Hope you're feeling better. But yeah, no, that's all I've watched. I think I haven't really watched anything else during this week. I've had a lot of stuff to be focusing on and whatnot, so hopefully I'll have a little bit more to talk about next week in regards to films and things. Another thing I want to touch on, unless you got anything else? Any good stuff?
No.
No, it's like, nah, that's it, man. I'm over. It's done. It's over. Goodbye. Robin said, yeah, she's feeling a lot better. Thanks for asking. Good. Good. Right, on to music. I thought we'd talk a little bit about music, since we've not done this before. So is there any particular artists that we like? And because I know we touched on like soundtracks and stuff last week. So I thought it might be quite interesting to have a quick talk about our favourite artists and songs and things like that, maybe.
I go through a lot of phases of just listening to different stuff. I love all your chart music. I was listening to The Weeknd a lot recently. He's quite good. But it's no secret that I love a bit of film soundtrackage. So yes. I'd say 90% of what I listen to is that. Really, I go through phases of listening to different ones because it's so varied. Listened to some Spanish ones recently, a bit of Roque Banos and Fernando Velázquez.
Ooh, some fancy names in there.
I know.
I love it.
I've scored things like Evil Dead and.
Oh yeah, I thought I recognised it.
And yeah, nature documentaries and stuff like that. It's all very nice. It really takes me out of the zone.
It helps my escapism.
A bit of escapism.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Robin.
Do you have any artists you like?
Robin just commented on your good pronunciation.
Fernando.
Oh yes. I like the little Fernando on the beautiful. Mwah. I've recently got more into kind of soundtracks and listening to music and soundtracks done by people. I definitely love the soundtrack to Days Gone. I think I talked about that before.
Nathan Whitehead.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very talented. Definitely I Prevail. It's probably one of my favourite bands. Although I find myself sort of, I don't really have a favourite genre. I will listen to literally anything. It's just some things I'll connect with, some things I won't. But I Prevail is probably one of my favourite bands that I've ever listened to. I'm obsessed with them.
Play some of their music there.
Oh yeah, Christ, no, I'll get copyrighted. I'd highly recommend anything that we talk about and stuff. Go and listen to it for yourself, and let us know what you think. Chime off in those comments.
You can always put some links to things in our social media pages.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll chuck some stuff up when we share the episode on the Facebook page.
It's not just all going to be about the podcast. It might be something to do with the podcast, but
definitely.
Fun little
segues. Definitely. I think we'll throw up some, some of the stuff from this episode, like artists and things. Ooh, it'll be good. Who else? Bullet for My Valentine, very good Welsh band. They actually came from Bridgend, so supporting. Recently, and this is a weird one, I'm not a massive fan of hip-hop and rap, right? It's probably one of the only areas in music that I'm not a huge fan of. I can't really get into it. But KSI, the YouTuber, I don't know, there's something about his hip-hop rap kind of, agenda that I don't know, I connect with, I like it, it's very cool. Not all of his songs, a lot of them are not my thing. But, no, there's definitely a few good ones in there. Absolutely, really enjoyed some of his stuff. I'll maybe share some stuff on our page.
If I liked him as a person, might be more tempted to listen to his music. But
I like his honesty. He's very honest. He's always very honest about the fact he's a dick. He doesn't hide it, and I like that. So I'm glad that that's a thing. Robin says she's not a fan of jazz. Really? I like a bit of jazz. I must admit, I like a bit of jazz music.
Yeah, jazz is probably my least favourite of classical music.
Oh man!
I'm afraid. I haven't listened to enough of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of old-fashioned-ish.
It is, yeah. It has definitely a more old-fashioned feel to it.
Yeah.
So I completely get why people. Even Vic's like, ew, no jazz for me. Oh, why, man? I like a bit of jazz. I can't deny that, and classical as well. I do like some very, very nice classical pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very much a fan of every genre. I like experiencing a bit of everything because I think if you just, limit yourself to one thing, I don't think you're experiencing enough of the world and whatever. I think you should give everything a chance. There might be some rap that the majority of rap stuff I don't like, but then there's a few here and there that I'm like, okay, I can roll with that. That's pretty good. So.
It's a good film music podcast that I listen to sometimes called Cinematic Sound.
Ooh,
Radio.
okay,
They've
nice.
got a really nice podcast. They know a lot about it, the composers and facts around the films and stuff. So.
Oh, nice.
Check those out.
Oh, nice. Remember, go on the Facebook page. It's down below. Go follow. You'll learn loads more.
Although we spoke about far more than what is on the Facebook page.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely no. There will be more stuff. It's only just been created, so yeah, we'll get there. Promise.
Should have really put a post on before this thing, but.
Oh well, that's my fault. I was slightly behind today, so my bad on that one. Sorry, Facebook page people. Don't hurt me.
We're not big fans of it. It's probably a good segue to go onto social media. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Just quickly before we touch on that, Vic said, it hurts my head, at least what I've heard of it, too much chaos for my ears. Oh, that's fair. There are some jazz pieces that are quite loud, heavy, impactful.
Smooth jazz is better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is something I would agree. Smooth jazz is much nicer. It's nicer on the ears, it's more calm. I'm very much an emotional kind of person, so if the music can hit my emotions and my core, I love that kind of thing. That's outstanding in my opinion. But yes, we're going to go on. Before we talk about the one conspiracy that we've got this week to discuss and talk about, we're going to go on to social media. How it affects us, what good does it do, what bad does it do, and how it affects mental health. I think these are all going to be good things to talk about, my dude. So your view on social media, if I may ask so.
Well, I still use it. I've tried to limit myself with using it. So I'd say I probably, along with 90% of the population, have a problem with some kind of not addiction, but overuse of it.
Yeah.
I used to have Twitter and stuff. I only have Facebook now, which is mainly what I use. It's good for keeping in contact with your family and friends, which still be what it's supposed to be for.
Yeah.
But then there's that whole dark side of it.
Yeah. It's,
judgments,
yeah.
Comparisons, the scroll of terror every morning.
Every morning, jeez. I know. I mean, I can't admit I used to be like that.
Yeah, you're reading a very polished version of people's lives.
Yeah.
Which is okay for a short amount of time, but when you're seeing all that stuff day in, day out, it'll start to get to you. You start to want to compare yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, my view is social media. I still use it, and I've tried to limit myself on it. But I mean, it does. It's about 50-50, good and bad for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Here comes the Star Wars quote. What are you talking about, Robin? Why would there be Star Wars quotes? Fair enough. Are you listening backwards? No. Yeah, no. My opinion on social media is quite a strong stance. I used to be very heavily into it. Obviously, I've done YouTube since, I believe, 2010. So 10 years on and off. But I think this is the longest stint that I've kind of done on like Twitch and YouTube and stuff, which is about 5 years now it's coming up to. And during that time, like, I was very heavy on Facebook. I never used Twitter. Twitter was never a thing I actually liked anyway. I always thought that was a toxic, disgusting place. Personally, if you use it, whatever, but I fucking hate it. I don't like it. I think Twitter is just a place just to attack
That's
people.
The thing these days, all these places always have a Twitter handle. That's the main source of information you can get for things.
Yeah.
But if you're not on it, you don't know, obviously. So
yeah, I would much rather be on Facebook than I would Twitter. Of course, I no longer use any social media. I use our Facebook page, of course. I'll post stuff on that regarding like the podcast and things like that. I'll obviously do that kind of thing. I don't know. I stopped using it mainly because I found it was affecting my mental health in such a negative manner. Now I don't know if I'm just a bit of a softie, if I'm a bit of a wimp or whatever, but I found that social media kind of tries to force you to be a certain way. Like, you kind of see all these different pictures of people, like their bodies and how perfect they look, and oh, they're all amazing people, and you know, they look incredible, and oh, what the fuck. My game broke. Right, sorry.
What the fuck?
Oh my god. Talking about a serious subject, and then I get distracted because my game broke. Right. Okay. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, the negative side of it.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. It was something that I was like, because there's obviously, you see like pictures of people and showing their bodies, like, oh, just had a great day down the beach, or whatever, you know, anything. Or if you're following like famous people, and it's like, oh, you know, I'm supporting this brand of makeup or whatever, you know, whatever the fuck they're going with. It's just an unrealistic expectation of what the world is and who people are. And to me, I've never liked that. I've always tried to be very real, regardless. But then the problem with that is you're showing too much then, and you're too much of a negative person, and blah, 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 fucking blah. So, I think my overall thing of it was just that I'd rather just focus on the people in my life and my own views and my own opinions, rather than, you know, go online and constantly look at other people's. Yeah.
Everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, social media is not all bad. Some amazing things can happen through social media. I mean, Christ, look at all the kids that have been able to meet like celebrities and people, and being able to talk to like the people that you aspire.
Yeah. Around the world.
Exactly. Yeah, talking to family, friends that are miles away, like what we're doing now. You know, this is an incredible part of the social media, because, you know, it allows us to bring these podcasts out and things. Like, not all of it is negative, but unfortunately, it's impossible to make the entire place, you know, perfect or nice, or, you know, a perfect world. And I don't think it should be anyway, because the real world is not perfect, and there are plenty of people in this world that will use that on social media. Like, for me, I don't know what your take is on this, but like, young kids that blow up and get famous on social media, I do not agree with it. I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't agree with it. It is wrong. If you are under the age of 15, you shouldn't be posting TikToks fucking gyrating. Like, it's not okay.
I think all social media should be like over 15s, like, at least.
Yeah, 16 or whatever, like, just some form of regulation. And yes, I get it, kids can lie about their age and things like that, but that's where the parents come in. That is where the parents should be doing their job, and they're not. And it's ridiculous. It's just the whole fact that
I would hate to go to school these days, because everything happens on Facebook, everything happens online these days. If you don't have it, you're not part of the gang.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, like, I don't know, I just don't like it. For me, social media has a lot of great points, don't get me wrong, but it's very manipulative as well.
If you're a kid, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to get it, be included, and have friends, basically, because that's all they use these days.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a really amazing... and Russell Howard is is my absolute favourite comedian, but he did a part on his show a couple of years back on Russell Howard's Good News, or I don't think it was Good News, I think it was the Russell Howard Hour. But he was discussing kind of social media and young kids, and how it affects young girls and young women and things like that, and why kids are so going through these mental health stages. And he talks about, I'll leave the video down below, I highly recommend watching it. He talks about how kids these days aren't just posting photos online to like post friendly photos or memories or, you know, stuff like that. Instead, they're trying to push a brand They're trying to like make them self-known and stuff, and it's like
social influencer.
yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's it's just not good, and it's something that really. I don't like it, and I understand it's part of our society now. Social media is not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what anyone says. It's going to be here forever.
Human nature to be kind of nosy on other people, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it all probably stems from.
And like again, that's why I stopped using it. I was seeing other people's lives and wishing, oh, I wish my life could be like that, and it was giving me just such shit views of my own life. When in actual fact, my life was not that awful or that bad. But it was because I was on social media seeing these other people doing what they were doing, it was making me feel worse about myself.
Behind the pictures of a lot of things is always another story.
Absolutely,
you can't put a filter on how you're feeling in life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, we've experienced some stuff very recently, in our own personal lives, it involves me, you, and a couple of other friends or whatever as well. There's things that go on in our personal life that stay personal. When let's say someone who is very young gets that fame and stuff like that and gets what they want and they can have the fame and the fortune and stuff, you never have a personal life anymore. It's gone. Anyone that can know everything about you, people are going to pester you to give answers to things you might not want to talk about, and people are always going to have an opinion and a view on your life. Like, you can't just live your life. It's always judged. And it's the same even when you're not famous. People are going to judge you on pictures you upload or things you say. I think the only time I send pictures and stuff now is when I send them to like you or our group chats and stuff, and Vic and people in my life.
Same with me.
It's just, I don't know.
It's really post to Facebook.
Yeah, it's toxic. I don't like it. Whoa! It's
far more time scrolling through the bastard.
Yeah, this is the thing. And this is another thing. Like, time wasting on it, man. The moment, like giving up social media and not using it all the time, harder than giving up smoking by far. And I've given up smoking. It's fucking hard. But giving up social media was 1,000 times harder because I was so used to having my phone in my hand, scrolling through, and it was insane. When I stopped using it, I was like, Christ, I actually have so much free time now. It's unreal. You wouldn't think scrolling through like Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, just for a couple of minutes at a time, you wouldn't think it takes up so much time, but you're doing it every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, shit,
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can't think of anything else to do, you just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like, smartphones are annoying as well.
Oh, gee.
Just put everything in your face.
Yeah, I don't mind having like smartphones and stuff for like games and being able to FaceTime family and friends. That stuff is cool, right? That's fine.
Well,
whatever.
Probably intentions behind them.
Yeah, the intentions behind them are obviously good. Oh, even when Facebook was actually a thing. I remember YouTube when they had a rating system, not a like and a dislike. It's how long I've been using this goddamn fucking website, but that's a long time. But yeah, no, it's insane how much time we spend. I mean, Christ, even YouTube has like a social media aspect to it now. It has like a community tab, which is like Facebook. You can post posts and photos and pictures. It's like, what do you want people to just not live outside and live a life?
Saturated.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, don't get me wrong, I agree with the aspects of being able to talk to friends, see friends, arrange to hang out, whatever. That stuff is fine. It's this idea that you have to be on it all the time, 24/7. It's wrong. It shouldn't be a thing. People get addicted to this stuff. Yeah, there's therapies now. There's therapies to stop using social media. It's ridiculous. Yeah, like, it's absolutely insane. And unfortunately, I think social media has sort of dragged games into that aspect to some extent, Don't get me wrong, there are some people that are addicted to video games, and that's all they play, and that's all they do, but I think a huge... Oh god, I think my guy's broken. I think an even bigger aspect of it is just like, everything about technology and things. It's just piss poor, it's not good. Yeah, I don't like it.
Humans we weren't invented to sit on our phones and not have. We're social animals. We need to be with people. That's why I wish I was. Sometimes I wish I was kind of born 50 years ago, when all this didn't exist, and you actually had to speak to people.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think back to my childhood.
Friendships with your communities, and when you went home from school, that was it.
Yeah.
You know, didn't speak to your friends unless you saw them. You know.
I think this is something that really upsets me. And it genuinely upsets me. I remember being a kid, and even when that was just kind of when like social media and stuff was sort of really kicking in. Like Facebook and things. But I would talk to my friends in school, arrange to go out with them, and then come home, get changed, go out. Simple. There was no beating around the bush. Now it's like, Cindy posted this thing on Facebook the other day. That bitch was talking about me. It's like a 12-year-old is wearing about £10 worth of makeup. Fuck off. That is not a thing that should be allowed.
Instagram. It looks like that.
It's ridiculous. They look like Krusty the fucking Clown. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it is, and it's something that parents need to understand this. This is not healthy. It's not good. Your kids should not be doing that kind of thing. Like, I can't remember what her name is. She's like a really famous TikTok star. She's like 15. I think she's 16 now, maybe. But she posted something online about like how grown men were like commenting on her and like being really inappropriate to a minor, right? Yet she's the one in a bikini grinding and stuff to a song that basically talks about getting dick. Where are the parents? Fucking nowhere. Oh, she's famous. She's getting money. Yeah, that's the only reason you're not saying anything, because I tell you now, if I have a daughter and she puts shit like that online, I'll smash her phone and she will never ever go on social media again. No. You have some fucking respect for yourself, you know? Like, parents should be monitoring this stuff, and I get it. It's very difficult to monitor everything. Yeah, absolutely. I would even go as far as take absolutely impossible. But you need to make some form of effort, because it just comes across like parents don't give a shit anymore, and they're like, oh, well, my kid has fun doing it, and it's like, yeah, well, tell them to go outside, go play in the mud.
Like we're born into being little addicts.
Exactly.
Craving attention all the time.
Absolutely. And video games, absolutely, yes, they have a part to play in this too. You know, you have, parents buying kids games that are clearly certified 18 or 15 or whatever. I even had that kind of shit. My mum would buy me the latest COD game or whatever. And that is something that can't be controlled. And I think it's the same thing with social media. There is a limit of control that they're going to have. But then, does the question then come on to, well, this is why the companies like Facebook and like Instagram need to have regulations and rules, and they should stick to them regardless of if these people are making loads of money for them, for kids' safety or whatever. Should they stick to these rules, and are they enforcing them well enough? And personally, I don't think they are, but
no.
I mean, that's my view of it. What do you think? Yeah, do you think it comes out to companies or?
At all. They just there's no way to monitor who's watching the media out there. I mean, we were talking the other day about the new Modern Warfare campaign and how kind of graphic it is at some places.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
That is the talk of the school, you know. For young boys especially. They live for that kind of stuff.
No, absolutely.
It's not good to be them to be seeing stuff like that. Then again, I do not agree that video games have any impact on the kind of terrorism.
I'm not being funny. I played GTA when I was younger, which again comes under, I never actually got bought it. My mum my mum point blank refused to buy me GTA. It was the one game she was like, no, you're never owning it until you're 18. Which, absolutely, I didn't own it until I was 18 and I bought it for myself because she refused to. But, I played it over like my cousin's house or whatever, and we'd sit down and we'd play it, and yeah, we'd go on tirade, go on shooting people, whatever. I'm not a mass murderer. I know right from wrong.
Yet, anyway.
Yeah, I know right from wrong. I know what's okay and what isn't. But I think that partly comes on to the parents. Like teaching your kid right from wrong. This is okay. This is clearly not okay. If you're raised right, you'd be fine. I think that's the biggest difference between gaming and with social media. Gaming, you can teach your kids what's right, what's wrong, what's realistic, what's unrealistic, what's exaggerated, because it's like part of the story or whatever, and what in real life would happen if that kind of thing happened, So, but with social media, it's toxic. It's. I'm so glad I don't have it in my life, because I feel free, like. I can laugh and joke with you, and I don't ever have to worry about bullshit online. Oh, someone said this about you. Did they? Well, I don't care. I didn't see it, and I know it's not true. Whatever, you know. Like, it's so much nicer.
To say things to your face.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I used to be one of those people that would use social media to kind of vent my frustrations, and I'm sure. Actually, no, I'm positive. If I went back on my Facebook feed, there are things I've said when I was like a kid on Facebook that I would look back now and go, "What? Shut up! You don't know anything about life. Oh, life is so depressing. You know nothing. You're 12 and you stubbed your toe. Like, I know there are things on there that I have probably said myself. Even as an adult, probably when I was like 18 or something, I've probably put some bullshit fucking status up. You know, oh, I'm so sad. And instead of like going off and doing something about it, no, I'll post it on social media because, you know, the world needs to know about my depression. Little things like that, you know, but it's those things we learn from and we look back and go, well, now I know that's ridiculous. But it's why this stuff should be monitored much more heavily and critiqued a lot more as well. I think people are scared to critique it because it's like, oh, it's a big company.
It's a big part of life.
Yeah, it's a big company. Everyone uses it. I mean, Christ, James, don't you use it for your, you know, your YouTube and your Facebook page? No, I use it for the Mind of a Madness podcast page, but that's it. I don't even use it for my YouTube anymore. I don't post any of my videos on there anymore. Like, I just don't do it. I can't be arsed.
It's almost as prominent as, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like the oxygen we breathe now.
Absolutely, yeah. And when I was talking to my mum about this earlier, it's become, I am not expecting anything with social media to ever change. It has become such an integral part of our everyday life and stuff now, that if it got taken away, I think people would actually get lost and upset and not know what to do.
People don't know how to kind of organise things or phone up your friends anymore. It's all got to be Facebook certified.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the biggest things for me is, and it's one thing I will constantly say for the rest of my life, is people have forgotten how, we humans have forgotten how to be human. Like, we don't know how to do it anymore. It's like
engineered for this shit.
Yeah, exactly. We have forgotten how to interact with. We can't talk to our neighbour, but yet we can go on Facebook and talk to a complete stranger thousands of miles away.
Yeah, sounds about right.
There's something fucking very wrong there. You know, just saying.
There's no sense of community anymore. It's like a one kind of world spirit now.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I think communities can happen online. I think that is an absolute thing that can happen
amongst older generations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It can be a healthy thing, but there are also the things that people now miss out on, and they're forgetting that, oh, I could actually talk to someone face to face. Instead, no, Cindy isn't going face to face to talk to this person about the shit she said about her. She's just dissing her and giving her shit over Messenger because she hasn't got she hasn't got the kahunas to just say it to the person's face, and it's made people become, I think, much more two-faced. And that's become so much more accepted in our society now, and I hate it. As you know, that is something I despise. If I have something to say, I will say it to your face, or to someone. It's better to...
I think it's like a valid revenge tactic these days, to block you off on social media.
Yeah, no, and I think that's... I understand wanting to block people on social media and things like that. Like, I get it. Sometimes it's impossible to have space from someone, but this is why I just... don't block, or I don't even use social media anymore, because you'll hear things that aren't true, words and phrases are mistold or misheard or spread around wrong. Misinformation is fucking ripe everywhere. Trump always says it, and I don't like Trump in the slightest, but fake news, it's everywhere. And on social media, it is fucking everywhere. There is not a single place you will find where there is some form of real news. There is always an agenda.
Everything's to get clicks these days.
Yeah,
unless it's from the very official sources like BBC or something.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, they fucking clickbait and stuff now. You know, yeah, absolutely. And that's their job. I get it. Their job is to get as many clicks as possible for the advertisers to pay more to be on their website. Okay, I get it. But it makes people dishonest and misleading, and that can really affect people's lives, whether it's celebrities or just everyday people. You know, and I don't know. I think it's just. it's something that I think since I've come off it, all I can see now is the negative side of it. I can see some good things, like I love this podcast. I like the fact that we have a few friends that watch it, and it's like a little community. You know, the funny montages that I make and I put out there bring like happiness or whatever to people. That's cool. I'm glad, but that is the extent of it. You don't need to know me as a person. You don't need to get close to me. That is it. You know, and I don't know, maybe in a few years I'll have to eat humble pie, because maybe I'll go back on these words or whatever. I don't think I ever will with social media. I don't like it. I will never use it. That's why I know I'm never going to get famous, because no manager will touch me if I don't fucking use social media or whatever. I don't fucking know. It's something along those lines maybe, but I just don't agree with it, and I think there's a lot that needs to be done to make it better.
Yeah.
There's like 5% that's good, and the 95 other percent that is just toxic waste that shouldn't be in our society, but sadly is. So
Absolutely. We could talk about this all day.
I actually could. Like, it's such a it's a big hefty topic that unfortunately to try and cover it in half an hour, 20 minutes is impossible. It's a behemoth. But chime off in those comments. Let us know what you think about social media and what your opinions on it are. Robin said I had Halo when it first came out. That's a good game. I like those games.
Never played it.
I've never really liked them enough to really be invested in them, but no, I think they're good games. I would recommend playing them, but again, you have to have an Xbox or a PC now. Could have a PC, so there is that.
It's just,
yeah, right. So on to
conspiracy theories.
onto our last section for the day, which is the conspiracy theory, and this conspiracy theory is black helicopters. You ever heard of this one, Sean?
This is a surprise to me.
Yeah. Oh. You ever heard of it?
Black helicopter? No, I haven't.
Alright. So I've got the Wikipedia page up in front of me. I will leave it in the description down below so you can go off and look at it as well. Right. I'm going to read the first little bit. We'll have a chat and then I'll go through like the overview, documented usage, that kind of thing, whatever. So, just a quick description. Unmarked black helicopters have been described in conspiracy theories since the 1970s. In the United States militia movement, which, for those who don't know, a militia movement is kind of like an unorganized militia kind of unit that works privately for the organizations they're hired by. So in the United States militia movement, black helicopters is a symbol of alleged conspiratorial military takeover of the United States, though it has also been associated with UFOs and the Men in Black and similar conspiracies of the sort. Rumours calculated that, for instance, the United Nations patrolled the US with unmarked black helicopters, or that federal agents used black helicopters to enforce wildlife laws. So, yeah, small little description there. So they've been described to be with the Men in Black. I'm assuming you know who they are, like people that would turn up at people's houses that essentially would sort of spread UFO information and conspiracies and things. And say, I think there was like a story about a man that crashed into a UFO, had a piece of the metal, and he the next day was visited by two Men in Black who were bald. They called each other by number. They had a white card with like a black crest on it, and that was it. There's a lot in the Men in Black theories that are very, very scary and they have a ring of truth to them. Maybe that's something we'll touch on next week.
It's basically like a secret kind of government organization.
Yeah, so in popular culture and UFO conspiracy theories, Men in Black, the MIB, are supposed men dressed in black suits who claim to be government agents who harass, threaten, or assassinate UFO witnesses to keep them quiet about what they've seen. It is sometimes implied that they are otherworldly or unhuman.
Okay.
I mean, personally, myself, I don't know if I believe the Men in Black are otherworldly or unhuman. I do believe that they are real. There is only one photo that's ever been taken of a man in black, and it's a very, very old photo. I can't remember the date or anything. If I can find it, I'll leave a link down below. But it's definitely a conspiracy I would highly recommend people look into. I think the Men in Black is an interesting one. They're not as friendly as their movie counterparts. But yeah, so essentially they work... some people believe they're aliens that work for like the US government, or they're working with the US government to kind of hide their tracks. They definitely had an effect, apparently, while the Roswell incident, so that kind of thing. You know, they're very, very alien-esque stuff. But that's another conspiracy for another time. So an overview of these black helicopters. Stories of the black helicopters first appeared in the 1970s and were linked to reports of cattle mutilation. It is possible that the idea originated in Hy Lindsey's book, The Late Great Planet Earth, published in 1970 and popular among conspiracy theorists. Lindsey theorized that the locust-like creatures referred in the Book of Revelation in the New Testament were actually helicopters, which John had never seen and thus did not know how to describe. Jim Keith, who wrote 2 books in the subject, Black Helicopters Over America and Strike Force for the New World Order, and Black Helicopters 2, The Endgame Strategy, media attention to black helicopters increased in February 1995, when first-term Republican Northern in Idaho Representative Helen Coronoweth, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, charged that armed federal units and agents were landing black helicopters in Idaho ranchers' property to enforce the Endangered Species Act. Quote, I have never seen them, end quote. So that's like the first representation or sighting of them, I imagine. They were unmarked aircrafts that we used to kind of enforce laws and rules.
Okay. I could see some merit in having some kind of secret organisation to cover up the tracks of the government.
Okay.
Some things they don't want the public to know.
Take a sip of my tea. Let's listen some more, shall we?
They want to cover up.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Interesting take.
But I don't know about this whole alien kind of stuff.
Oh, fair enough. She said in an interview in the New York Times, quote, but enough people in my district have become concerned that I can't just ignore it. We do have some proof, end quote. Believers in UFO conspiracy theories often claim unmarked black helicopters are seen in the vicinity of UFO sightings, the theory being that the choppers belong to an alleged secretive government department who cover up evidence of alien visits and UFOs from the general public. The black helicopters are a theory. Helicopters' theory resonates well with the belief held by some in the militia movement that troops from the United Nations might have invaded the United States. The John Birch Society published an article in the New American detailing how the existence of the covert aircraft was mostly the product of possible visual errors and a tendency towards overbearing caution. So essentially, the John Birch Society is an advocacy group supporting anti-communism and limiting governments. It's been described as a radical right and far right organisation as well. But they have insisted that this is all overblown crap, essentially, to put it in layman's terms. Like, they don't believe it, they don't think it's real. So that's kind of their thing. So hearing what you've heard there, what do you kind of think of people obviously saying they've seen these black helicopters, these unmarked ones, which, by the way, unmarked aircraft or vehicles or anything like that is illegal, because that's like having an unmarked weapon, for those of you who didn't know. So what do you think about hearing that they've been seen and sighted next to UFO sightings and stuff? I know, obviously, I'm not sure if
it could be a coincidence.
Yeah.
It really does remind me of a TV show called Fringe, where they've got these race called the Observers, and they're always, every single historical event or UFO sighting or something like that, they're always kind of pictured in the background, observing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds a bit sci-fi to me.
Sounds a bit sci-fi. Ooh.
Sounds a bit sci-fi.
Let's get into documented usage. The following organisations and government agencies are known to operate black and or unmarked helicopters in the United States for unclassified uses. So these are actual things that have been cited and used for. The first one is US Customs and Border Protection operates a dozen black and gold Black Hawk helicopters. The US Army's 106th Special Operations Aviation Regiment uses helicopters primarily painted black and other US force operative helicopters painted in black or dark colours, particularly the beloew, which was optimised for long-range stealthy insertion and extraction of personnel, including combat, search and rescue. The US Army, there we go, found it, regularly conducts both exercises and operational missions in American airspace. Some of these exercises have taken place in densely populated cities, including Los Angeles, New York, Detroit, San Francisco, New Orleans, Oakland, and Chicago. That also includes Washington, D.C. Most operational missions are tasked in narcotics interdiction in the American Southwest, out of Florida and Puerto Rico, by extensive use of IR radar, GPS and night vision devices, as well as other classified means. They are able to fly in zero visibility conditions with no running lights. Frequent practice results in frequent sightings by concerned members of the public. In the early 1970s, Air American, a former dummy cooperation airline, covertly operated on behalf of the CIA under the cover of a private conversional venture. So, even the CIA have been using these under fake businesses and stuff. Conducted test flights of 2 highly modified Black Hughes helicopters at Culver City in California. I'm assuming that's Carver City, but it's just spelt really weird. After the mission assigned to it had been completed, one helicopter was transferred to the ownership of the Pacific Corporation of the Washington, D.C. The second helicopter currently flies for the, Sonoma County Sheriff's Office in Washington State. Many defense contractors and helicopter manufacturers also conduct public flight testings of aircraft and components, or fly aircraft in public view to test ranges of other cooperative airfields for training or demonstrations. Occasionally, some of these aircraft will be made for military clients and painted in black or dark colours. And last but not least, many US law enforcement agencies use black helicopters for surveillance, transportation and patrol. Some of these agencies that use them are the US Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and the US Air Marshals Service, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, obviously the FBI. So, a lot to unpack there. So there is documented sightings of these. Obviously the CIA have been proven to use them in private commercial ventures, which are fake airlines and stuff that were proven. So essentially what all these things documented are trying to say is that any people that have kind of seen them as UFOs or anything like that have been misled and been very sort of confused by it, because it's sort of like a covered up operation, so the government deny it or whatever. What's your kind of take on it so far with the information you have been provided?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, what do you think? Like, do you think they are, so far, do you think they're kind of like just more, maybe they are real, but they're kind of just things that the government just use as like private things? Do you think they're used for like undercover investigations and things like that? Do you think the CIA use them so they can never be tracked? Like, what's
a tool to kind of clean up anything that kind of goes wrong, or public perception is like out of control. They'll try and clean things up.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, it's an impossible thing for them to do because they don't want to get, like, America doesn't want to get.
It's all kind of based around America, is it?
Like, mostly, yeah. It was documented usages have only ever been caught in the US. So there was a film called Black Hawk Down, obviously made back in 2002, I believe. Obviously, they have Black Hawk Chinooks and helicopters. The idea was that they were a secret organization. So there's only been one proof of existence, which is an interesting one. I think you'll enjoy this. During the operation to kill Osama bin Laden, one of the helicopters used in the raid crash landed near the building where Osama was hiding. The crew burned most of the helicopter to prevent the wreck from falling into the wrong hands. But the tail was in another side of the wall and was left intact. The tail did not represent the tail of any known helicopter model and contained features typically used in stealth aircraft. It is assumed that this helicopter is a classified stealth helicopter, which is based on the MH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. So what's your kind of take on that?
Oh, it's interesting how it's been used in kind of a recent event.
High profile. Yeah, a high profile event as well. And under the Obama administration, let's not forget. So there is proof that I think, for me so far, from what we've heard, I think it's definitely enough to kind of conclude they have black helicopters. The Americans have black helicopters, maybe even other countries too, that they are using for secret operations, and they're not telling people about the technology they have, because for obvious reasons they don't want other people getting the technology, because they want to have an upper hand. So I definitely think it's interesting that they have technology just in the tail of a helicopter that apparently is enough to sort of withstand it being a stealth helicopter. To me, that sounds very strange. However, this is the closest source they've ever found to, like, sort of proof of these helicopters' existence. And this material has also been not proven to be fake, but it's off an unreliable source at the time when it was first announced back in 2019. So there is no guarantee this could be true, but from what the source it came from.
Anything's possible with the power of the
yes.
government.
So take that with a pinch of salt, though, that specific sort of incident, because it was from an unreliable source.
That's why they are conspiracy theories.
Exactly. Right, the projective term. The term has also been used to ridicule other conspiracy theories or conspiracy theorists. For instance, a Slate article on a basketball referring said, quote, "In the wake of this scandal, every game will be in question, and not only by fans disposed to seeing black helicopters outside the arena," end quote. Vice President Joe Biden has had recourse to the term in speech, responding to the National Rifle Association during the 2013 White House campaign for background checks on all gun purchases, saying, quote, "The black helicopter crowd is really upset. It's kind of scary, man," end quote. When the Department of the Homeland Security DHS proposed a database to monitor the activities of journalists, bloggers and other, quote, "media influencers," end quote, and some people raised concerns, DHS spokesman said, quote, "Despite what some reporters may suggest, this is nothing more than the standard practice of monitoring current events in the media. Any suggestion otherwise is fit for a tinfoil hat wearing. Black helicopters conspiracists," end quote. So that's the projective term. People have obviously used this in passing things, because obviously even someone from the higher government, obviously Joe Biden, who is quite well known now, as he works quite closely with Trump, has even pointed it out, using it himself as to make people seem ridiculous if they believe in this theory of black helicopters and stuff.
Even acknowledging it as a mistake, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there are fictional representations that these have been used in. Of course, the famous film back in 1981, The Escape from New York, Blue Thunder, a film where a police officer is assigned to test the pilot of an advanced dark-coloured armoured helicopter, Airwolf, America, Deus Ex, even the games, they've used black helicopters repeatedly. The X-Files, Flight the Future, the episode that had been written by Chris Carter and Frank Spitznaz, they used black helicopters in that, and Weird AI, which is like a black helicopters coming across the border in his song. Apparently it was a parody song that was done for the Royals. My lord. But yeah, there's also black cars, obviously, Black Volga, which is also connected with these theories. They kind of connect with the Men in Black kind of thing. They believe some of these cars were used by Men in Black as well as the helicopters. So hearing all of that, that's just the Wikipedia page. I'm sure there is tons and tons of other information about this thing. About black helicopters and the conspiracies, especially the documented usage of them. I'd love to look a bit more into them to see if there's any kind of real evidence there.
Yeah, I need to see some pictured hard evidence, I think, but I think it's not beyond the realm of possibility that there is a secret organisation out there.
Yeah, I definitely think saying that they're connected to aliens is ridiculous. I will absolutely say that these are not alien craft or anything like that. Do I think that possibly the American government could have an entire section where they use these helicopters on specific missions and things to stay covered? Absolutely.
We're not going to get assassinated for talking about this.
Nah, we'll be fine. But no, I think I would say they're definitely real, and I would say that the government probably do use them for high classified stuff, I guess. It would make sense since they wouldn't get followed or traced because they are, unmarked. And the fact that that theory, even though from a unreliable source, possibly, having that tail end found at the Bin Laden site where one of the helicopters had been taken down, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that they possibly were used in that. It would make sense. It's a high-profile target with someone they've been trying to catch for years.
Yeah, it's like we need to get this guy by any means necessary.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, it happened during a time where, Obama was in charge, and I know not everyone liked him, but I personally think he's the best president they've had in a very, very long time. He made a lot of mistakes, don't get me wrong, but I still think he was probably the most upfront and honest president you could have asked for at the time. So, yeah, no, I have a lot of faith in, and I think this is real, personally. But, do you believe it? Are you skeptical? What's kind of your view on it?
Skeptical, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. If it turns out it's true, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, no, that's fair, I think. absolutely. Well, friends, this brings us to the end of Mind Over Madness episode 4. So, yeah, thank you to Robin, and thank you to Vic for being in the chat for this one. It was very kind of you. Here's a good conspiracy theory for next week: the Black Knight satellite. Ooh. I know, literally. Madness. I'll have a look into that, Robin, definitely. It's something I'll look into, and if I think there's enough, if me and Sean think there's enough there to kind of have a discussion about it. I do like kind of leaving these to like surprise Sean with. I think that might be a good one. Unless you want to do next week's one, you could like find one and surprise me. I don't know.
I'll surprise you.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. We'll talk about it.
Definitely. I'll have a look into it. Robin, thank you very much for the suggestion. I'll have a look into that conspiracy theory, and maybe, just maybe, we'll find something to talk about in there. I have got the page up in front of me now. It's only a very small one, but I'll do a bit of research into it, and maybe we'll have a chat about it next week. But yeah. As always, thank you to anyone that's listened to this full thing online and on VOD. Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to do that. So yeah, last thing quickly to talk about. Obviously, I mentioned at the beginning of this that there was going to be a slight differentiation to how we do these podcasts now for the next 3 weeks. I am actually not going to be in my own home for 3 weeks. So as of next week, what we're going to do is we're going to record the podcast on Saturday, and they'll go live on Twitch and on YouTube at the same time at 3 p.m, so you can watch them on either one, and they will be a VOD, sadly. This is just due to the fact that I'm somewhere else, I'm in someone else's house. It's not going to be possible for me to use the internet stuff, and I know, lockdown rules and shit, but trust me, every precaution is being taken, and we're not being. It's not like I'm traveling miles. I'm literally traveling 2 minutes. It's but yes, that is the plan. So for the next 3 weeks, the show won't be actual live. It'll be a VOD. But please feel free to leave comments. Go over to Facebook, follow the page. It's massively important, especially for these next 3 weeks, that you do that, because then that's where all the information about this is going to be. Yeah, I don't think. Have we got anything else that you want to bring up?
That's everything. That is everything.
That is everything. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. It's much appreciated.
Listening.
Yeah, or listening, either one. Vic said, surprised you guys didn't mention the protesters stating that the virus is fake. I haven't done enough research. I have seen that, but I haven't done enough research into it. And quite frankly, personally, here's my take on it. That's fucking ridiculous. It's not fake. It's real.
Did we not touch on that? Oh no, I think we just touched on protesters during.
I think that's ridiculous. Personally, myself, I think that's fucking ridiculous. The fact that people are calling it fake. But we'll get into that next week.
The higher authorities flexing their muscles.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a chat about that next week, I think. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much to everyone for listening and watching. If you watch this on demand again, or listen to it on demand, thank you very much. I know it can be quite difficult to listen to 2 hours of two people talking, rambling on shit. But hopefully the conspiracy theory part was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know, because we want to kind of cater as well to you guys, since you are listening to it. So thank you again to Robin for the suggestion. I'll look into it, and we shall talk about it next week. So I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Sean, for joining me again on the podcast. And yeah,
for joining you, I am the podcast.
He is the podcast. Without him, there is no podcast. But yeah, thank you guys very much. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Fill me out with your smile.